Little Red Riding Hood. Granny lived not far away, but to get to her cottage, you had to walk through Bunny's wood. Though no one had seen a rabbit there for ages, you'll see why in a moment. Little Red Riding Hood, her mother called. Granny's still not very well. Put on your cloak and the pretty red riding hood she made for your birthday. Then pop over with these blueberry muffins and dish of butter I've prepared for her. So Little Red Riding Hood slipped on her cloak, fastened her riding hood under her chin, and set off. Remember to stay on the path in Bunny's wood, her mother called after her. Of course, Mother, Little Red Riding Hood called back. I always do. She was only a little way inside the wood when there was a noise in the bushes, and out onto the path jumped a great big wolf. Little Red Riding Hood nearly dropped her basket in fright, but actually the wolf seemed quite friendly. Where are you going, little girl? He asked. To my granny's, Little Red Riding Hood replied. It's the first cottage you come to at the end of Bunny's wood. Granny's not very well, and my name's not Little Girl. It's Little Red Riding Hood. Sorry, said the wolf. I didn't know. Tell you what, why don't I run ahead and tell Granny you're on your way? And Little Red Riding Hood, don't stray off the path, will you? We don't want anything happening to you before you get to Granny's, do we? Off the wolf skipped, just in time, for around the corner was a woodcutter. The wolf hadn't eaten Little Red Riding Hood there and then because he knew there was a woodcutter nearby who might come to rescue her. While Little Red Riding Hood made her way along the path, stopping every couple of minutes to pick flowers or chase butterflies or listen to the birds singing, the wolf took a shortcut. He knocked at Granny's door. Who is it? The little old woman called. The wolf disguised his voice. It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought some good things to eat. The door's not locked, my darling, Granny called. So in went the wolf. How hungry he was. He hadn't eaten for days. He swallowed Granny whole, from head to her feet. About 10 minutes later, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on Granny's door. Who is it? The wolf called softly. It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. The door's not locked, my darling, the wolf called. Come on in. For a moment, Little Red Riding Hood hesitated. Wasn't there something funny about Granny's voice? When she remembered that Granny had a cold, then she lifted the latch and in she went. The wolf was lying in bed, wearing the little old lady's nightie and nightcap and glasses. The sheet was pulled right up over his face, and he'd drawn the curtains to make it nice and dark. Put the things down there, he said, then snuggle up to me, my darling. Little Red Riding Hood put the muffins and butter down on the bedside table. But she didn't get into the bed right away. Suddenly, something struck her. What great big hairy arms you have, Granny. All the better to hug you with, my dear, the wolf said. And what great big ears you have, Granny. All the better to hear you with, my darling, the wolf said. And what great big eyes you have, Granny. All the better to see you with, my darling, the wolf said. And what great big teeth you have, Granny. All the better to eat you with, my darling. With that, the wolf was so excited he couldn't contain himself any longer. He threw the bedclothes aside, jumped out of bed, and swallowed Little Red Riding Hood whole, head first. Then he felt so happy and full of people that he lay back and went to sleep. Unfortunately for the wolf, he was a loud snorer. A passing huntsman heard the snores. Thinking something was wrong with Granny, he crept into the cottage. He saw at once what had happened. I've been looking for you for months, you wicked creature, he cried, and he hit the wolf on the head with his axe handle. Then, very carefully, he slid the wolf's belly open. Out popped Little Red Riding Hood, and out popped Granny. They were completely unharmed. Granny saw the treats Little Red Riding Hood had brought and, well, wolfed them down. Little Red Riding Hood promised Granny that she'd never be tricked by a wolf again. As she skipped home, she noticed that the rabbits had come out of hiding and Bunny's wood was full of bunnies again. What a funny afternoon it's been, she thought.